be at. So as you're walking through a field, a cop drives by on one of the streets and he just stops at the end of the field. And he rolls down his window and he says, "Hey man, what the fuck are you doing here?" And you say, "Oh, I'm just going to get a drink." And he says, "You think I'm stupid, man? What are you doing here?" And you tell him, "I'm just going to get a drink, I swear to God." You know you can't go to jail because you're already dope sick. You can't go through that right now. So he gets out of the car and he says, "Put your hands on the hood." And you tell him, "I don't consent to a search." And he says, "Put your hands on the hood before I smack the piss out of you." And you realize he's not fucking around and you don't have a choice. So you put your hands on the hood and he asks if there's anything sharp that's gonna poke or stick him. And you say, yeah, I mean, I have a needle on me, but it's brand new. I'm allowed to have it because of the needle exchange. You know, they just passed a law in Florida that makes it legal to carry around needles. So he pulls it out of your pocket and he notices that there's just a little bit of residue on there. And he tells you to sit down on the sidewalk while he goes back in his car, thinking that you're gonna run away and he's gonna have an excuse so he can tackle you and beat the shit out of you. But you don't run because you know you didn't do anything that was illegal yet. And sure enough, he calls you over and says, "Hey, what are we gonna do?" And I say, "What do you mean, you're gonna let me go?" And he says, "No, I can't do that. That syringe had residue in it." So he arrests you, he throws you in the back of the car, you're headed to jail. You're thinking to yourself, okay, he probably just charged me with a misdemeanor since paraphernalia is a misdemeanor. And then you see on his computer that he's charging you with possession of a controlled substance, a felony. So you know damn well you're not getting out anytime soon. On top of the fact that you just missed court yesterday, but the judge had yet to sign a warrant. And so he drives you to the Miami Police Department where you gotta sit in a holding cell until they have enough people to fill out a paddy wagon to head to TGK, which is the jail that you get booked at in Miami-Dade County. You're cuffed to a bench and there's a guy next to you who's going psycho and he ends up kicking you in the head for no reason. You finally make it to the jail, but by this point, you're in full-blown withdrawal, detoxing off both Fetty and bars cold turkey. You sit in booking for 30 hours and they finally give you something to lighten the withdrawal effects, but it barely does anything. And you gotta wait another 6 hours before they finally bring you up to your cell. You go to bond court the next day and they say, no bond. At that moment, if you had a choice between living another day or checking out, you're checking out in a heartbeat. Follow me for more stories about being homeless for 5.5 years and how I got sober 6 years ago.